Concord, Massachusetts is privileged to have 1,400 acres of town conservation land, which was gifted or acquired for conservation purposes. Much of this land is in the form of 12 parcels, sort of like small nature parks, scattered around town with names like Medicine Field, October Farm, and Punkataset, containing trails maintained by the town. Concord's Natural Resources Commission, NRC, is charged with the care and custody of these parcels, and the other town conservation lands. By state law, the NRC may place rules and regulations on conservation land to ensure that use of this land is consistent with its protection and preservation for future generations. Some of the most avid users of these trails are dog owners who enjoy walking with their pets on the long trails. Most dog owners are conscientious and keep control of their pets on the trails, but some have been less caring. Rangers, hired by the NRC, are patrolling town conservation lands over the summer, collecting data on how trail users enjoy the land, as well as how effectively people are complying with the leash regulations on the few parcels that have them. The main purpose of this video is to show the activities of the rangers, and their interactions with the public.
Yeah. Dog waste here. Yeah.
Dog.
There's the mutt mitt bags. So people are, when their dog does use the, defecates or whatnot, and people pick it up, they are supposed to remove the bags. However, a lot of people tend to leave them on the trail. I don't really know the reason for that, but when we come across these on the trail, we'll usually pick them up and we'll throw them out, but we don't really.
It's not your job, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is, but
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's turned into it.
That's a mutt bag, yeah.
Yeah.
Just really just saying dogs have to be leashed at all times. No more than 3 dogs per person. People and dogs must stay on trails. Remove your dog waste properly. And have this map as well, which shows. This is posted at every conservation land, and this shows the off-leash and on-leash areas. The red areas, or the pink areas, are the leash at all times areas. This is Punkataset, where we are now. And this orange area here, Madison Field, is a seasonal leash restriction, which ended yesterday to protect, and that's an area with high grasslands. That's to protect the ground nesting and breeding bobolinks over there. That's their habitat.
They've already nested.
Yep.
They have, yeah. So they just finished yesterday, actually.
Yeah. The last one.
The last one.
Yesterday.
They probably finished it about a week ago. It took a few weeks back, but we just want to make sure we have the area. So this is the area here that is owned by the town of Concord, Punkataset here. So this is about 100 acres of accessible land owned by the town. This big area is private. A lot of this is owned by Harvard University. Yeah, this is just our area, the blow up of back into here. You can see this is marked Harvard and Harvard there, and Pippin Land Trust over there. Oh, the dive is in Hutchins. That's where people like to let their dogs swim.
Yeah.
We'll show you that. That's a short walk. The private land is on leash as well, so we didn't want to have an off leash area that was concentrated on just these 100 acres that the town owns.
Oh, so what? This is a leashed area because it's high. You said high value. That's
high ecological value. There's there's a high habitat diversity, wildlife diversity here.
As opposed to the other place, which was less critical.
Less. We just really want to protect and preserve this area, and a lot of it is there's so much land here. There's so much natural habitat. And unfortunately, when dogs wander off leash unknowingly, they could harm animals, disturb them. There's also the issue of just everywhere else is on leash in this Estabrook area as well. So if we allowed dogs to be off leash here at Punkataset, where the town manages, it would just be this kind of hectic concentration, and we
So you spread out the leash areas of.
Yeah. So. And then
probably,
yeah, and then also another issue was that last summer there were 2 dogs who wandered off trail here who were actually attacked by coyotes and just bitten from coyotes trying to protect their young, but that we wouldn't like that to happen again.
Well, there's also the issue of like the dogs coming up. You have children and dogs
right.
coming up. All right.
Yeah, and any trail we want people to leash their dogs when they hear another person on the trail approaching, even on the off-leash area, just in case that person's scared of dogs. So.
Yeah. Well, all right. So that's kind of a use of agricultural use, or what?
I'm actually owned by this.
Yeah, this is still conservation land.
It's still conservation land, and then once the tree line kind of ends, it belongs to that property there, that big house.
Swimming hole.
Yeah, well.
Here's something like that. 8, 5. Oh, here's somebody doing something.
Could be a critter.
There's a book there, right? And what do I do with that book?
So there's pens in there, and everyone kind of just leaves an entry when they come by. Not everybody, but that's an interesting little thing. And just say teacher.
Oh, so this is probably where the guy brought his dog, and the dog ran in the water.
This is right where, yeah. He's got a dam over there.
Yeah, a man-made dam. But yeah, usually, if it's a sunny day, you can usually see him out basking in the sun on this. The most I've seen on this at one time was about 4. There's actually one curled up. Keep going. He's right there.
Oh.
See him? See his head? It's a northern water snake. When this was built, but it was probably just to keep the water level in the pond. Because beavers will build dams wherever they hear water, like natural water running. So their instinct's just to, like fill it, as you can see, what they've been doing here. But so they run these long culverts. It'll run out to the water where they'll put like a little cage around it so the beaver can't dam that up, and then it'll flow here just to kind of keep the water level, within normal.
Okay, so you can ride your bikes through here, right?
Yeah, we just want people to walk their bikes in the sensitive areas.
Good on.
We really don't want people building fires back in the conservation land. It's definitely a safety hazard. You could burn the whole woods down. So, yeah, definitely no non-permitted fires. Usually when we see something like this, we usually just try to throw the burnt. We'll stop anyone if we see them doing it, but we'll just throw the burnt stuff into the woods.
So someone else doesn't get the idea that that's
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Expected.
It's allowed here.
Yeah.
More of them.
Yeah. So we'll just kind of kick it out and make sure this one's a bit old, but make sure nothing's hot there still. Nothing there.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised when people leave.
This used to be a ski slope, a little ski hill.
They had maybe some machinery up there? Or?
I think people, I think, just used to come and they
just walk up
on it. Yeah.
Little sledding hill now.
100.
Roll off of it.
That's a 100-foot drop, isn't it?
So,
Yeah. So this hill is called Punkatassett. It's Native American for
Broadtop
Hill.
Yep. Yeah, and it's actually where the Minutemen gathered on top to view the redcoats before they advanced and met at the bridge.
Hey, so you're some dog owners here using the trails?
Yes.
So do you do this often?
Yes.
All right. And why this particular place? This is
It's beautiful.
beautiful, great.
Yeah.
You wouldn't?
Yeah.
Thank you very
No, I was just trying to figure out like what group was making the video.
Yeah.
So I know there's
Yeah.
two sides to the controversy. So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, do you have something to say about that?
No, I definitely do not. My husband, I have a lot to say, but my husband would kill me, so I'm not going to say it. But just trying to figure out what the angle was. So, all right, thank you.
Have a good one, guys. Take care. Have a nice day.
Were those dogs on the lease when you first saw them?
What? Yeah.
Yeah,
I first
well,
saw them.
Yeah, it looks like they're walking in leash, which is very nice. Happens a lot where people, have their dogs off leash, and then when they kind of see us around the corner, they'll leash them. But,
that's Kai too, right?
but I want to say something. We usually just thank them for having them on leash if we see someone walking.
No.
We haven't actually given out one fine the whole summer anywhere.
Or a courtesy tag, actually.
Yeah.
We haven't
We
given out
haven't
one.
had one courtesy tag here at Punkatassett the whole summer, and no courtesy tags for dog walkers. So, we have some in the car we can show you. It's really only, we'd only contact the police or give out a fine or courtesy tag if the person really gets belligerent or aggressive. And the only time the police were contacted this whole summer for a non-parking related issue was
The bike, hey,
a very kind young man decided to leave his bike here to protect the sensitive areas of the conservation land that we saw down there. So we have nice bike racks up for people too if they just want to bike on the trails and then walk as well. Just have a place they can lock it up. We usually just double bag just in case when we're picking up someone else's.
Yes, I wouldn't even want to. The last thing I'd want to do in my old age is
Yeah. Is that heavy? It looks heavy.
Yeah, it's a big one. Decide to leave the bag waste on the trail. I don't know if it's in protest of the...
Yeah, a few people have mentioned they kind of do it intentionally, unfortunately, just to sort of protest the dog.
Protesting, that's the word, yeah.
But we just pick them up when we see them and throw them in the trash. But a lot of, that's only the few negative. Most dog walkers we see are always have bags with them and are picking up their trash. And it's just,
Hi, how you doing?
nice day for a walk.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Rowan, by the way.
Oh, Bob.
Nice to meet you, Bob. Yeah.
I'm Chad, too.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is this a new project or?
We're just out here, it's a summer position. We're just out here kind of walking around, maintaining the trails, and talking to people, enforcing a few regulations.
Oh, good. I have no complaints about the dog walkers recently, so
That's good.
nothing to report right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
They come on.
We're at October Farm, which is
Yeah.
off of Monument Street, and it's a fairly new property. Yeah, just purchased a few years ago. Yeah, they sold it to the Conservation Trust a few years back, and it's turned into a pretty popular area. A lot of people come and walk their dogs here. It's one of the off-leash properties, but it's a really nice spot. There's some hills back there, and it goes along you can walk along the Concord River.
Yeah,
and there's
some nice trails.
Yeah, there's some nice historical aspects too. There's a lot of old cabin foundations from this fellow William Brewster who lived here back in the late 1800s, early 1920s, I think.
Yeah. And he still has his canoe shed out there in the back, and it's built kind of into the hillside, and it still has his initials, WB, and then September, I believe it's 1910.
1910, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a great property. It's available for a lot of different lengths of walks. It's an off-leash area, and so about 70% of the town's accessible conservation lands are off-leash, but the dogs just still have to remain under effective voice control, which really just means that, as long as they're in sight and on the trails, in sight of the owner, and the dogs are remaining on the trails, not, wandering off and bothering any wildlife or anything like that, then it's okay. And we just want owners to leash their dogs as well when they come to the parking lots in case, someone's scared of the dog getting out of their car or other dogs that don't play
Vehicles backing up.
nicely. Yeah, exactly. Just general safety concerns. Yeah. But you'll see we have leash-unleash signs on the trails, so once they've walked a few, just about 100 feet or it's 100 yards.
Yeah.
100 yards from the parking area, then, owners can take their dogs off leash at these off-leash areas. And we're actually redoing this parking area because it's been a pretty popular spot. So at the end of August, they're gonna expand it a bit, put in a handicap parking space, and fill it with gravel and make it nicer,
Yeah, and I believe-
accommodate more visitors. Yeah.
And they'll be starting work on that on August 9th to the 24th, and it's only during the weekdays.
Yeah, so it will be closed during the weekdays,
Yep.
but open on weekends. It's the conservation cruise truck, so I imagine they're probably doing some weed whacking or cutting up a fallen tree on the trail. And so if you
Making
call
the
in,
trails wider.
if you see a tree that's fallen on the trail and you call that in, they'll come down and they'll chop it up and drag it off.
Savannah Park, walk by the plaza.
Oh yeah, so that's how you could call the police, right? Have you had to call the police at times? Or?
We only really have, besides just a few parking complaints, we've only had to call for one incident.
Yep.
Oh,
And
just one.
this is that unleash sign here. We have some temporary signs in place, and then we'll end up putting in some more permanent signs. We're kind of putting in temporary ones because people keep, ripping them out and vandalizing. We're kind of getting people used to them.
It's like a test run.
Yeah, it's like a little test run. Yeah, we're just kind of getting people used to the idea of these signs being here that way.
No cougars though, huh?
No cougars.
Coyotes, this must be a place.
I'm sure they are around here. I haven't seen any since I've
Yeah.
been here, but
We had a few incidents last summer, I think, of coyotes actually attacking some dogs, protecting their young. No, we haven't seen any out here on this side. Mostly just seen a few deer.
the wild turkeys were Massachusetts. They were extirpated in the early 1900s by people over harvesting them. Then I believe in the 1970s the state reintroduced a couple small populations to kind of jumpstart them again, and now they're back in their native ranges. And their full name is the Virginia opossum, and they actually came up to this area by actually using interstates and highways.
Oh, they're from Virginia?
Yep.
I know what a
I believe these were horse jumps on this area.
horse jump, yeah.
They used to have, I guess the previous owners used to have horses, and they used to have these little areas that they would jump around.
So this is what you do, is just walk the trails and whatever happens,
Yeah.
whatever you run into, you
Yeah,
react with.
usually.
Yeah, just deal with.
Yeah, and number two. Oh, here's the crew here. Hey guys,
They're just
how's it going? Good. It's our trusty conservation crew.
Yeah.
What are you guys up to today?
Oh, we're doing our usual thing.
Yeah? How long has this tree been down? Yep. Yeah, you want to just grab that saw for me?
So somebody called in a problem and we're here to fix it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually they'll call in or email and send a picture, and they'll put on a map where it is, and then we'll go out and do it right away.
Oh, some regular civilian person?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, so you're members of the employees of the town, right?
Yes, we are. We're part of the conservation crew.
For natural
It's,
reasons.
Yeah, it was a double split one. Kind of just fell down. And yeah,
and you're just going to like get it off the trail and kind of.
yeah,
clean it up.
cleaning up all this stuff. We still have to chop up a few of these branches, but then yeah, we're gonna be on our way. We were told to leave it as like natural as possible because there's the historic site just down there.
He built this place, and it was only in some of the last years of his life, but early 1900s, late 1800s, he lived here, and his house was just down.
So this
down
is
here.
just somebody else's house, or what?
No, I believe
part
this
of his whole-
was. Yeah, I believe this was one of the cabins that
Yeah.
he built to like observe the wildlife and the birds, because he was big into like
Really into bird
he was
watching
big into
and
bird watching.
animals.
He was like against the commercial bird hunting for the feathers for hats and things like that. So He had purchased the land to kind of, save this. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very into conservation.
Yeah.
An early on person who was really into preserving areas.
Yep.
And this is just an area he wanted kept undeveloped and unhunted. Yeah, all right, do some hard work.
So that's way down there.
Wrote in WB, William Brewster, 1910. Right here.
You're sitting right into the cementing.
Yeah. At least you can still see it at parts, but it looks like a lot of it got knocked away. We know at least that one car there, we know the dog and we know the woman, so we know that she always walks her dog on leash here because he's a big dog and she knows people could be scared of him anyway on this trail. It's just the land value partly, and it is a nice area that's conducive to dogs still being able to
they can't go. They're less likely to wander off it because it's so wooded.
Well, for example, like White Pond, they have the leash. Like your dog does have to be leashed to White Pond. That's mainly in part to help control the erosion. They have a lot of erosion on the embankments, and they found that dogs running up and down can help to accelerate the erosion, which we're really trying to reduce.
And like Punkatassett over there, Estabrook Woods has a lot more, it's put in all these
high ecological value.
Yeah, it's got a very high ecological value, a lot of diverse, habitat and wildlife area. And then the private area of Estabrook Woods has put in these lease restrictions as well recently. And now, the town kind of has to react with the 100 acres of accessible land that they own, or it would all be concentrated, all the off-leash activity there, which could really contribute, to damaging habitats or what have you, causing erosion. Those correspond to the, those correspond to the map here.
Oh, right, blue and brown, whatever.
Yeah,
blue, yellow, and red.
Red's secondary and yellow's main.
Yeah, there's the river.
Where-
We're along the river.
We're
Right
right about here. We just passed the
see
blue
that
trail.
blue connecting. We just passed, and here's Brewster's
Oh, so this
cabin.
is the whole thing. This and that's that's really swampy over
That's
there.
really swampy.
Yeah.
Over there, all right.
All the other places aren't quite as bad.
Yeah. Look out.
I heard something kind of mechanical. Well, yeah, that rain just kind of picked it all up.
It does.
But it looks like it's not going to rain now. Look, we'll
Yeah.
get clear sky. Oh, well, partly.
This one up
This
here.
one's up there. Explains it.
Brett, it's actually loss of, good breeding habitat due to like people mowing fields for hay, building, and all that. And actually, I believe since 1966 to 2015, their populations have been declining by 2% every year for a cumulative of 65%. So that's why having like key breeding areas set aside for bobolinks like Madison Field and having the seasonal lease restrictions is, it's important so that we can have the bobolinks, not be, the species aren't threatened.
They prefer these overgrown grasslands and meadows. It's kind of just and dogs will be dogs, so it's not their fault if they go and chase a bird.
So this is a water tower for what, do you think?
There used to be a dairy farm here, and I believe they used the water tower on the farm. It's from the 1920s, the last left in town.
Well, they might have repaired it a few times. It just seems like wood wouldn't last that long.
The tree swallows and barn swallows.
Some red-tailed hawks, bald eagles. Well, the bald eagles, we think they nest over back there by White Pond. So
yeah. I've also seen deer down in this field too.
Newborns.
A doe with a fawn, and then over on the other side I saw a young buck.
Yep, another dog sign.
We used to have a lot of invasive plants like multiflora roses and buckthorn that we pulled out of these fields.
A few truckloads, more than a few.
More than a few, actually quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Yeah,
Would we hire a contractor to do that or something?
We did that.
Yeah, we pulled
You?
it. Yeah, we pulled it all out of it.
So we also pull a lot of invasives out on the trails, so that's another part of our job. But I guess I can go into. So we're really just here to, be ambassadors for natural resources, and we just want to make sure that the lands and the areas are protected. We've never issued any citations to dog walkers or.
Yeah, we don't actually even issue citations. We'll just usually give out courtesy tags, not usually on the first time we see somebody, usually if it's like repeated offenders. A courtesy tag is just kind of like a little, it's just in written form that in the future that they could receive a potential $100 citation for...
Just letting people aware of what those citations could be, but one of those has never actually even been issued for dog walkers.
No.
And people usually, listen after we sort of tell them the reasoning behind these new regulations. Sort of protecting the conservation lands around here and making it fair for everyone so everyone feels comfortable to share the trails.
Milkweed. You can't even really see them. 20 was the last year?
I think 1920 was the last year. It was a dairy farm, It's a great piece of land. But this is an off-leash property now after July 31st when the bobolinks are done breeding. So just come here and walk your dogs under effective control.
Yep. Yeah. The seasonal lease restriction only runs from April 1st to July 31st. So it's only a few months out of the year.
Only a few months.
Yeah, what is it, August the 1st?
August the 1st, so it ended yesterday.
Yeah.
And people generally walk their dogs on leash here, I found. I think people pick this area because it's a lot more open. If you do have a dog that's, can tend to bound off or be a little excitable, this open area is more comfortable for people like that.
They feel more safer.
More safe. And some people are scared of coyotes or just being like in the woods by themselves. So it's a lot of people like just the, you can see the road from here and it's still very beautiful. So.
Yeah.
You're a good guy.
Well, you don't have to be in it, yeah. Oh, she does.
Finally a dog.
Yeah.
First one we've seen here today.
Yeah.
So have the bobolinks fledged and left?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they probably finished up
a little while ago.
Yeah,
just kind of like a little safety
weeks, but
precaution
kind of just
to make sure
it's
the
cushion.
give it
last
some
one
cushion
to
on either
finish their
side,
breeding.
just so we make sure they're all safe.
Yeah.
I noticed that some of the field had been plowed.
Right.
And that probably does a number on the nests, but this is allowed to grow, which is good.
Mm-hmm. We mainly see them back in these high grasslands over here.
Yeah, usually on this hillside we usually see them.
I really like those like overgrown meadows.
We were here in like mid-late June. We were pulling invasives from the field, and we used to see actually a handful of bobolinks playing on the grasses and flying around, which is pretty cool.
Pretty
It
close
is fun
to us
to
too.
see
Yeah,
them.
they're fun.
They're
cute
beautiful.
birds.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to coming back with Herschel.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably see you all out there.
I'm sure we like Herschel.
Herschel's
He's a good boy.
probably my favorite dog.
Yeah. Such a handsome dog too. Yeah.
He's big and he's good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah, he
Nice
really
dog.
is.
But he doesn't do well on leash, which is why I care about the leash issue.
Right.
I just can't. He's responsive to voice commands mostly.
Yeah.
But
he's always seemed pretty good when we've seen him. So yeah.
He's 120 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, right. That's hard to walk him.
We saw, maybe I told you this, but we saw an 8-ounce Chihuahua puppy, Herschel and I've never seen him so ecstatic about it.
Really?
He got down and he got on his back and he was rolling and he wanted to just
adorable.
be at that level.
Yeah.
And this dog literally was a puppy Chihuahua. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't recognize it as a dog. It was really
8 ounces compared to Herschel. It's like
120.
Right?
A wrestler and a little kid. Yeah.
He likes little dogs. He likes big dogs too. Anyway, I'll let you all go. It's good to see you.
It was nice
Great to see you too,
Yeah,
Betsy.
we'll see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, well, take care. So
have a
check
good
out,
walk.
see if,
Yeah.
I'll do the survey again.
Yeah.
Because I know you all are trying to get people to respond. And
Oh,
I don't
thanks.
know if people are responding.
Yeah, we've had a few decent amount, but we definitely would like more.
Okay.
Just trying to get all the feedback we can.
Yeah. No, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea. All right, well, we'll see you out.
All right.
in the
All right, well,
field.
take care. We'll see you in Herschel. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
From
We
here.
found two lost
not
dogs
from
this
here,
summer.
but
Yeah.
We found
Here.
2 at White Pond. The crew has seen a couple at Old Rifle Range.
See this?
Well, maybe they stay within smelling distance or something.
Yeah.
These ones were pretty. What were they? Like 3 miles away from their house or something.
3 miles from their home.
Yeah. But they had stuck together, these 2 brothers. And then we just called. They didn't have any identification on them, but they had or like no address or phone number of the owner, but they had their license numbers on them. So we looked that up with the town animal control officer and dispatch, and we got them back to their homes at the end of the day. But is White Pond Associates Beach, and that is what's gifted
All right,
to
so
the town.
again, this is the state boat launch.
Yeah.
So you bring your boat down here.
Yeah, you can come
Kayak,
in your boat down here,
paddleboard,
kayak,
canoe. Yeah.
paddleboard, hop into your canoe and go fishing, and then so this is all state property, and then as we go to my right, that becomes White Pond Associates property, which is privately owned currently, but it's just announced that they're gifting all that land to the town of Concord, and they'll turn into a town beach with memberships for residents, I believe. And it was a really nice, generous gift, great piece of property, and a really fun acquisition for the town.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
That's a private house over there?
Yeah, those are homes. Private homes all along the beach. It's either private or belongs to the state, so I think it'll probably stay about how it is.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure they'll stand too much. They might tie.
So the rail trail would be what, like that?
Yes.
Some it'll go along the bank over there.
Not that close to the bank. So.
Yes. Pretty
Mostly largemouth bass, brown trout, and rainbow
bluegills.
trout.
There's actually a lot of bluegills, panfish. But yeah, the state will stock it 3 times a year with rainbow trout, brown trout, and I think they stock some brook trout.
There's a program with the Fenn School, and I think this is still being run by a teacher over there named Jeff Tropsky, where his class stocks some brown trout in here at the end of every summer.
What they raised the fry
at
their school and
at the school as part of kind of a science course, I think. And then they release that. the Hatchin Day area.
Well, what do you have any business here?
Yeah,
No?
so
Oh.
we're here a lot. We patrol that back area.
Yeah, we'll take you over there in a little bit.
We'll take you over there. We came back here just to show you the beach. And
Well, the current card members that have
all
a membership
Concord
now,
residents.
the ones that currently have their memberships, will have like
And they have first access.
yeah, they'll first access if they do want to renew their membership. I believe the memberships will actually be cheaper than they are now, so they won't be as expensive. And
Yeah, I think people would just go to town hall or the library to get those, but I'm not sure of the details yet. So we have the trash and recycling bin down here. There's a lot of litter here, unfortunately, but it's cleaned up over the past few months a bit more as we just remind people to take out what they bring in, and we leave this recycling and trash bin down there, and we bring it up every week for the to all be collected. It's a really nice area down there, beautiful place to walk. Come here to walk, fish, walk their dogs.
And just because no dogs, what did that say?
Dogs can be here, they just have to be leashed and they can't swim.
Can't swim.
So no swimming for people or dogs in the conservation land back here.
No, just the people.
Hi, how are you doing?
oh yeah,
Yeah, they're there. They're enjoying the day.
Yeah,
They're doing well.
yeah, all right.
See you guys. Have a nice day.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
There's a lot of trails here, as you can see. We're over here, but yeah, there's a lot of area you can walk back here. Some great meadows over here, back in this area. It's nice just to walk along the water. So, see a lot of people coming on runs here, going fishing, walking their dogs, just going for a hike. It's a really beautiful piece of conservation land.
Yeah.
The horse issue. We have the dogs, now we have the horses.
Well, the horses really, aren't so much of an issue. They only come here a few times a year, but their hoofs really, speed up the erosion process on the
Yeah, they
trails.
kind of dig
digging
up
in
that, and they often leave.
They're
Well,
waist
their
high.
poop is a little bit less
More hay in it.
ridden.
Yeah. It's not so bad. We try to move it off to the side of the trail when we see it, so people don't end up with a nice surprise on their shoe. Chad? Come here. Is that someone in the water there? Oh, they're just laying. Sad, I thought they were. Got the thought in our heads. But we'll walk down and talk to them.
Say what, you're not supposed to be there? What is this, a pond? This is just a little pond.
This is part of the same.
Oh, is it?
So we've just closed certain trails due to erosion. We just don't want, we want to protect these easily eroded slopes from further degrading the water quality of the pond. Because what happens when it's really eroded like this, and say it rains, like it did earlier today, all that runoff is going to come in and bring extra nutrients into the water, and then that can create algae blooms like we've had in the past several years. We've had some cyanobacteria here, which is a real pain, and that's it's tough. It takes a while to dissipate, and it's not healthy for the aquatic life, and it can really be harmful to dogs who if they drink from the water, or other animals. So we're really just trying to protect the overall water quality of the pond and the area as a whole, and it's gotten a lot better over the past few summers.
Okay. Some erosion.
So as you can see down here, we've kind of put in, you'll see them all around, but we have some fences in place, and we have these coir logs, and those will soak up nutrients as the water passes through. So if it's raining, water, you can see this path right here from the rain. So water comes down this area because it's it's steep and it's eroded, and it will flow down this whole area like that, and then, you know, as we hope, those coir logs will kind of soak up that nutrients and stop the water from rushing into the pond. Because we want people to walk down to the water, so we have these designated areas like these steps here. So if you're visiting the pond, we just like you to stay on the steps,
steps,
and come
look at
down.
that.
Yeah.
But you said there were steps. I didn't know what you meant.
Oh yeah, literal steps.
Ooh.
I'm not. Can't we swim? Can't they fish here?
Really nice. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a great pond.
It's a great pond.
It's a great pond. I've never seen any litter here. I've seen litter placed here. I think that's what it is. I think kind of a wacky rig.
Oh yeah.
There's hardly anybody here. There's no outing because I came every day. In 215, I came every day. I've been coming here most days in the summer because I'm a teacher.
Right.
And I can in Lancaster. So I come here most days in the summer, and then I keep coming here until I can't come anymore.
Right. Well, the population has really decreased since then. And the main thing is just like, it's really just a environmental goal, and I totally get, and we don't want anyone to leave and everything. We want you to sit here and enjoy it and everything.
It's very hard to enjoy it on a boiling hot day.
I understand.
It's beautiful
believe me. Yeah. I mean, I love swimming and coming in, and I know it's hot and frustrating.
To block off all those areas. You know, you could have one path into the water. You could do any number of things.
You go out Plainfield Road, you make a left on it,
like coming into the water, you know, people,
it's just on your right.
You know, pee in the water, they wear sunscreen in the water, and it does certain things to the grade. And a lot of this is just like, you know, protecting it before it turns into a, you know, a potential disaster. It's just where it's conservation. What's your name again? Rachel. Our workout for the day up the hill.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Great to see you guys. All right, see ya.